This ain't rap, it's blood sport. Your life cut short, you fell short. The pressure's on high, full court.
Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing today? We are continuing this streak of videos leading up to the draft. It's been a couple days now. It's hard to believe, but we're getting there. So today we got boom or bust prospects. Idea is pretty simple. Let's get right into it. We got my top 10 right here. Of course, and this is in no particular order, but of course, it had to be Anthony Richardson up here at the top. I mean, there was no boom or bust prospect more notable than Anthony Richardson in this class. I mean, we all understand now. Most of us have already formed our opinion of Anthony Richardson. My opinion is that in the right situation, the sky is the limit for him. But he needs to go to a right situation. I think he could go as high as number 4 to the Colts, and I don't really see a world where he drops out of the top 10. I have 11 listed there for the Titans, but I think he's top 10 guaranteed. What does he need? He needs at least a year, possibly 2 years. And if he went to a team like the Raiders, like the Lions, the Vikings, the Seahawks, I think he could sit those multiple years. But he does not need to be a day one starter. He does not need to go to a team with a weak offensive line and young offense. So he doesn't need to go to the Colts, basically. The Colts would ruin Anthony Richardson 100% guaranteed. He needs a team like Seattle with Geno Smith, like a Vegas with Garoppolo. He needs a mentor to help him learn the ropes. And I'd love for him to have offensive-minded coach. That would help as well. Because wherever he goes, he needs to be the centerpiece. They have to build the offense around him, and he needs to quickly get adjusted to the weapons that he has. Next up, we got Jalen Carter. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, ignore that. We got Jalen Carter. Obviously, we all know the concerns. I'm not worried about the off the field issues with, rest in peace to his friend that died, but I don't think that in particular is going to affect his draft stock very much at all. I don't think so. I don't think he was going to go in the top 4 regardless. I still think he goes at 5 to the Seahawks, but this is what has to happen. He needs a reality check. Not showing up in shape to his pro day, that's a big concern for me. So I put a nutritionist. I need a mentor of some kind for him when he gets into the league. And I need him to go to a team with a winning culture. Because if he goes to a team like the Cardinals, for example, or maybe even the Raiders, it could be very easy for him to just, fall out of line and really just not reach his potential. But if he goes somewhere where he has to work for everything and he has to earn his spot and he is motivated by his teammates and his coaching staff. So I put, the Seahawks, the Lions, those types of places. He could be without a doubt. I mean, everybody knows his talent and his potential. Some people still have him as the best player in the class. And if you can find an interior defensive lineman who can get pressure, like a Chris Jones, like a Quinnen Williams, and Aaron Donald, those guys are game changers. And that's what Jalen Carter is. He just needs to fix his habits and off the field issues. Next up, we got Zay Flowers. Some people think he's the best receiver in this class. Other people think he's not even a first round pick. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think his size is going to be an issue. He is not big enough at all to play outside. I have big issues with those guys because I love the prototypical receivers. I love the Quentin Johnstons, of the world that can just go outside, massive catch radius, track and meet on the football field, or track and field on the football field. Zay Flowers is not that guy. He needs to go to a team which is going to utilize him in the slot. He needs a veteran or a healthy quarterback. So I have the Chargers. I have the Giants. Both teams with high-powered offense. Well, the Giants could have a high-powered offense with Zay Flowers, offensive-minded head coach, of course. But he does not need to be forced outside just because he's a first-round pick. You're going to throw him outside, see what happens. He's not that guy in the NFL. he needs a good run game because he could be very, very dangerous as a deep threat in play action. I think we're going to see a lot of highlights of him burning people in play action. And he had some drop issues in college that he needs to clean that up for sure because boom or bust, Zay Flowers fits that definitely. I could see him as a Kadarius Toney. Not to say Toney is, he's turned it around last season, but his first season was certainly not what you wanted. But I think Zay Flowers, in the right situation, will be very, very good. Next up, we got Jalen Hyatt. I just love him as a prospect. If I did I might after the draft, I might do my 10 favorite players from the draft. Jalen Hyatt will be on that list. His speed, man, he just gets open downfield, man. He has to utilize that. He needs a team which throws the ball a lot. It needs a quarterback that's not afraid to let it rip. That's why I got the Chiefs here. I got the Saints there with Derek Carr. And his problems is he struggles with press. Obviously, 175 pounds, that's too much, man. Sorry, that's too little, far too little. He needs to put on some weight. He needs to figure out how to beat press, and he needs more variability in his routes. He's too one-dimensional right now. Now, that being said, with that one dimension, hey, he can he can zoom down the field and just break defenses wide open. But he does not need to go to a team which is run first, pound the rock, because that's just not enough opportunities for him. And I think he could be in that type of a team, he could be reduced to like a Mac Hollins type of a role, which no disrespect to Mac Hollins, but that's not what you want out of a first round pick. So high powered offense, throw the ball a lot. Jalen Hyatt can put up big, big numbers. Next up is Darnell Washington. I mean, the guy looks like he was built in a laboratory, as are most Georgia players. But he's not. I mean, I think I read that he was only targeted 45 times in his college career. So he does not have, experience as a pass catcher. So what does he need to do? He needs a veteran quarterback slash offensive coordinator that knows how to get him open, wide open, make it easy for him. He needs to be a complete mauler in the run game so he can be on the field even when he's not a threat in the pass game. And I mean, look at he's 6'7", 265. Use that. Be a big physical guy who you can use in a lot of different ways. He does not need, oh, this guy was a high draft pick. We need him to come in and produce right away because he's not going to do that. He doesn't need an inexperienced quarterback or offensive coordinator who just says, oh, he's a big guy. Let's throw it to him and see what happens. He needs it handed to him at first. And he does not need a poor work ethic because if you have an unrefined route running, what's it called, a route tree, and you're not experienced enough in catching the football, if you just go to the NFL and think it's all made for you, you're not going to get any better. And that could be the case with Darnell Washington. But if he can work and improve, and just a couple of those requirements are met, I would most certainly take a shot on this guy at the top of the second round. Next up, Juan Jones. Again, even more so. I mean, 6'8", 375. Oh my God. He's a mountain of a man. But don't mistake that with thinking he is just a sure thing of a left tackle because he is not. Day one, if he played left tackle, he would give up a lot of sacks. He needs to start at right tackle, and he just has to figure out how to use his leverage better, hand placement, not get just completely beat. If he were to go up against a guy, like a Nolan Smith, he would just destroy DeWanda. He would just run right by him every single play. And he's not capable of stopping that right now. He needs to improve his feet, his leverage. And he's a project right now. He is not a finished product whatsoever. So I don't think he's going to go in the first round. I hope not. That would be a complete reach, especially with how talented this tackle class is. So I think he's a second round guy. But if he went to, the Patriots or the Steelers, he could be certainly a rotational tackle day one, but he has to work his way up, and he has a lot of things to improve because if this guy comes in and you start him day one, he will be out of the league quickly. I no doubt about that in my mind. Next up, Nolan Smith. Obviously, the combine, was outstanding. 6'2", 240. He has solidified his spot as a first rounder. Where in the first round, I have no clue. No clue. But he needs time. He is also another Georgia guy who checks all the physical boxes, all the athletic boxes, but he played around so much competition that the numbers aren't there. The production isn't really there. He needs time. He needs to work on his pass rush moves. He does not have a lot of variability right now. It's kind of one-dimensional. I'm gonna try and run past this guy, and if that doesn't work, oh, I'm not getting any pressure. So he needs to also be a force in the run game so that he can be a three-down player. He does not, or right now, he's just out there to get after the quarterback. He needs to also blow up plays in the run game. And he does not need to go to a team where he's the only guy and you're just Nolan Smith, come in and fix us like the Cardinals. Be the only guy to generate pressure. He needs help. He needs other guys who draw attention so that he can get easier matchups because then he could be a big problem. But as of right now, he's a project. Also, like Juan Jones, like Darnell Washington, but his potential is through the roof. Next up, Hayden Hooker, another guy who I just love as a prospect. I think Hayden Hooker is better than Will Levis without a shadow of a doubt. I think if Hayden Hooker was healthy, he would be that guy. He would be the third quarterback to go in the top 10. But I think the ACL injury and his age, he won't make his first start until he's 26. So that's holding a couple people back, even though Levis is like 24, but that's besides the point. I think he's a second round player. I've heard a lot of talk about him going in the first round, but I don't really think he has to. I think the Saints and the Seahawks, those are the teams. A lot of other options, the Vikings, the Lions, the Raiders. But like I said, he needs at least a year to recover from his ACL tear and get back to what we saw in college. He needs, like all quarterback, he needs weapons. He cannot go into a situation where he's supposed to elevate subpar players around him, all right? And he needs a guy who understands, how offense works. That's a bold take right there, right? But a young quarterback needs an offensive guru to help ease them into things. And what he does not need to be pressured into coming back before he should. He needs to completely recover from this ACL injury. And he does not need an offensive line who's going to get him killed, okay? Because I'm not sure how, well off he's going to be able to avoid pressure coming off of this injury. And, the accuracy was a bit of a concern in college. It was inconsistent, I'll say that. But when he was on, he was on. He was on fire a lot last season. So I think in the right situation, sitting a year, learning his offense, 2023, 2024, watch out for Hayden Hooker. 2024, 25, I don't know. Keely Ringo next up. I love Ringo. I've talked about Ringo a lot on this channel because I think he has all the physical tools and he's young enough to be the best corner in this class by a mile. However, a lot of people say when you turn on the tape, Ringo is not impressed. I disagree, but I see what they mean. He is over aggressive, a lot of penalties. He he has his eyes on the quarterback too much instead of the receiver. They say he's not fluid enough, but if you give him time and he is able to be the ball hawk that he is, and he can be physical, and he works hard to improve his motion, and he can run with guys down the field because he has amazing speed, amazing size. He does not need to go to a team and be their number one corner. He's not ready for that. He's just not. Because he's going to be too physical. He's going to be too handsy, draw a lot of penalties, get beat a lot. He doesn't need that early on. So he needs a team that's going to be patient with him. He needs a defensive coach who's going to put him in the right spots early on. But if he can get that in a Seattle, in Philly, watch out. Watch out for Keely Ringo. That's all I got to say. Next up, Devonte Witherspoon. I am not nearly as high on Witherspoon as any of the other corners in this class, really. I just think he's too undersized. I don't have confidence that he can play and cover top receivers outside. Do I think he could be a very, very good nickel corner? Absolutely. So I think if he went to a Philly or a New England, even though New England, they'd like to use undersized corners outside, that could be a good spot for him. But he needs time. Even though he's 22 and you expect him to kind of be a finished product, I don't think he is. He is too physical. It's a gift and a curse because, he's a great tackler for a corner and he blows up a lot of plays, but he draws a lot of penalties. And it's a result of him getting out-muscled. He's just too light. He's too slim right now. He's going to get out-muscled a lot in the NFL. So he needs time to develop, get his body right, and eventually, maybe he could be a boundary corner. But day one, I'd love to see him in the slot. I'd love to see him get the experience he needs, but not get burnt outside. So I think he's getting mocked way too high. I would not be surprised if he falls into the later teens. But wherever he goes, I just hope they have patience with him and let him develop into hopefully a number one corner. That's going to be it for this video. This one was a little quick. I just wanted to say what I thought about these 10 prospects, and drafts in a couple days. Be on the lookout for a lot more videos. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching. Peace.
It's out the motherfucking pack. Right out. But niggas don't know how to act.